those of advertisers of this station.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet again another edition of the Chris Murray Report on WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Ladies and gentlemen, man, oh man, we got a lot to kind of cover today. I first want to start off today I want to thank the entire WURD family, of course, led by our fearless leader, Sarah Lomax Reese. As you all know, about 3 weeks ago, Denise Clay Murray and I got married, and we got sent from this station the loveliest rose bouquet, vase. We've been getting a lot of stuff, and I always like gifts like roses. I always love roses. I love plants and all those other things, and Denise loves them too. So I just wanted to thank you guys at URD, man. Y'all have been great towards us, and definitely appreciate all the help you've given me over the years. Thank you very much for that. A couple of sad notes today. Hank Aaron, the second all-time leading home run hitter, although a lot of people would consider him number one because of the suspicion of steroids. Although Barry Bonds is still, to me, the all-time leader, and I'll give him credit for that. But Hank Aaron, did it under Jordan. He did it under the most duress, the most difficult of circumstances. He had people sending him threatening letters and things of that nature, and he always carried himself with a certain grace or dignity. And to let you know how old I am, Jordan, because I was 12 years old when I heard Kirk Gowdy do the call on NBC Sports when they did a special Monday night. They usually wouldn't have Monday Night Baseball so early in the season in April. They usually would wait until season got started a little bit. But Hank Aaron was at 714 at that point, and he hit the home run. And I've been listening to some of the calls of that home run this morning, and listening to the TV versions. I remember, like it was yesterday, Kirk Guy's like, it's back, it's there, it's a home run, and Hank Aaron is all-time home run leading, that kind of thing. Those of you who heard Kirk Gowdy, I hope I did justice there. But, that was such a great moment, but I would say the best call that might have been from Vin Scully, who said that, a black man is getting a standing ovation in the South. I mean, it was just a remarkable thing for Hank Aaron to do that, and he was one of the best hitters of all time. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that a conservative columnist who's like a huge baseball fan, George Will, once told about Hank Aaron, how dangerous a hitter Hank Aaron was in Major League Baseball. George Will in Ken Burns' Baseball tells the story of a bunch of National League pitchers talking about guys. I think it was maybe Don Drysdale, Koufax, and some other guys. They were talking about how they would pitch Hank Aaron. I mean, they were talking about different guys around the National League. So Hank Aaron's name came up, and George Will says there was like a silence, and then George Will says that, well, one of the pitchers said, well, when he hits the ball out of the park, make sure nobody is on base when he does it. That's how dangerous, and that's a fitting tribute to how dangerous a hitter Hank Aaron was. He hit 755 home runs, lifetime. Well exceeded the Babe and all that. And don't give me I don't want to hear, Babe did it at this time or that time. Babe Ruth was a great player. But Hank Aaron had to do it, had to break that record when people were threatening him, racial slurs, and all this other stuff. And I found it interesting that two guys ran out on the field as Hank Aaron was circling the bases. And I'm shocked that the cops didn't come out there and knock those guys to the ground because he had been, receiving those kinds of threats. He didn't know who those guys were. I mean, they were trying to celebrate, but some people want to be a part of the moment. Sometimes, man, let the moment happen.
Right.
Don't. I don't like sometimes when like announcers nowadays and this desire to have their voices remembered forever, like guys like Vin Scully or Russ Hodges, who did the Giants have won the pennant. Everybody wants to have. Sometimes they step on that moment. Don't step on the moment. Sometimes you gotta let that moment happen.
Yeah.
But and the fans, you don't need fans running out on the field. I'm glad nowadays they're a little bit more tighter, about fans running on the field. But Hank Aaron, I would say that, like I say, man of great dignity. He was that last link, one of the last links to Negro League baseball. He played for the he played for, I want to say it was the Indianapolis Clowns or was the Atlanta Clowns. I'm not really, I got to double check on that. But the thing is, he was that one of the last links to the true links to the Negro Leagues in Major League Baseball, and so it was fitting that he broke that record. My personal memory was the 2008 World Series. I was covering the World Series for the Philadelphia Tribune, and I was doing, Ryan Howard had won, I think, the Silver Slugger Award, and I got a chance to talk to him, very nice man, about Ryan Howard and how, he was talking about how Ryan Howard was, a great slugger. He just has to let him hit his home runs. He's going to strike out a little bit, but he's gonna get the ball out of the park, and which Ryan Howard did a lot of times with the Phillies. I thought in 2008, Ryan Howard should have won the MVP award, but that's when all the baseball nerds tried to say, well, these are all the cybermetric stuff, and I'm like, personally, I could care. I'm not a fan of analytics, and although I will be talking about, I'm going to be a part of a seminar on Tuesday on Facebook Live, talking about baseball with Justice Hill, who's a longtime sports writer for the MajorLeagueBaseball.com, and my friend Art Thompson, who's out in Los Angeles, who also covered baseball, and another guy who worked in Cincinnati for so many years, Branson Wright, or Cleveland, so many years, Branson Wright. We're going to be talking about Dick Allen Hall of Fame, whether he should go in, and Kirk Flood and guys like that. We're going to be talking about that on Tuesday. Now, as for today, as for our sports in the here and now, coming back to our city of brotherly love. All right, Jordan, are you ready to hype up your Philadelphia 76ers, or is it too early? I mean, they beat the Boston Celtics in two straight games.
Yep, with Kemba Walker back and stuff. Because I think the last time when we played the Celtics, Kemba was out. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about the Sixers, but I still need to see them play
Tatum didn't play, though.
Well, except Jason Tatum, yeah. But I still need to see them play against the Lakers and the Lakers, the Clippers, and all those other teams. Yeah. And even the Warriors, and the Warriors. And here's the thing: I'm not going to sleep on the Warriors because they got a pretty decent defense out over there too.
Yeah, and they got one of the Curry brothers. They got the better of the Curry brothers.
Right.
The Curry brother that we have, that the Sixers not on the team, that the Sixers have. The Curry brother the Sixers have is pretty darn good. He had a couple of key threes. But I'm going to tell you where I see the change with this Sixers team. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, 215-634-8065. All the numbers are called 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. You want to put your 2.5 cents. And ladies and gentlemen, even when we have guests on today, I want you guys to call in. Don't be shy about talking to our guests, as long as you keep it on the subject matter. Ask our guests questions. I'm gonna have John Mitchell on to talk about. We're gonna talk about minority coaches in the NFL or lack thereof. I just got finished going through an article written by Mike Florio and of NBCSports.com, and we were talking about the fact that We're talking about the fact that that of course black coaches are once again overlooked. The Eagles hired Nick Sirianni. I want to hope I pronounce that name right, as their new head coach. He is the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, and I guess they'll officially roll him out for the press conference this weekend or by Monday, and so from that standpoint, you have a situation where once again black coaches like Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich, and maybe Leslie Frazier and other coaches are being overlooked. Todd Bowles and others are being overlooked, and for coaching jobs. Mm-hmm. And the Rooney Rule has not worked, and I don't think I was reading the comment section. This is ProFootballTalk.com or Pro Football Talk, and all of these things, there are a lot of white people saying, well, there's not a lot of white running backs or whatever, and all this other stuff, and kind of ignorant, to be honest with you. And the reason why these issues are because they don't hire black coaches. Heck, it took a long time for the league to allow black people to play quarterback on a regular basis. Okay, and it's still the same problem. Nothing has changed. Has anything changed? No, it has not changed. Okay, 215-634-8065 are the numbers to call in. 1-866-361-0900. I want to get everybody's opinion on this because at the end of the day, once again, black coaches are being it's the thing is that the people who own these teams are for some reason leery about having black coaches as one of the faces of their organization. Now, the Eagles situation is a lot more complicated in the sense that the Eagles situation, I think Deuce Staley would have commanded a certain level of respect in that locker room. Mm-hmm. I do think, but I think that the general manager, Howie Roseman, and Jeffrey Lurie, this is going to be their call. I think it's somebody. If you read, I've been following Marcus Hayes of the Daily News a lot lately, just reading his interesting insights on that situation. And they're basically trying to keep a tight rein on who might his assistant coaches be, and that's going to be a question that everybody will ask once they get everybody together for the press conference. So that's the thing that I see happening in that situation is that what kind of assistant coaches are going to have. But the whole thing really comes down to appeasing Carson Wentz, because Carson Wentz basically, did not get along with Doug Peterson, and so Doug Peterson was shown the door. And so, as we asked last week, can all of Nick Sirianni's horses and King's men put Carson Wentz back together again? Can they put him back together again? So we'll see. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the phones. Brother Joe from Germantown. Brother Joe, what's happening, man?
Hey, Brother Chris, and hello, Brother Joe, and I love y'all brothers, man. Allah continue to bless y'all two good brothers. Chris, let me say this first. You're welcome. Before I talk about Jason Whitlock, let me just say about Hank Aaron. My heart and prayers go out to Hank's family and everything. Man, what a tragic loss, man. I have an issue with Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A., I always tell people in this story, I could be against, like me and Brother Jacob who called. We disagree on everything, but when Jacob called with something I agree with, I'm always mad enough to be a man and agree with him. Stephen A. Smith stepped up to the plate the other day. He said when Hank Aaron was voted into the Hall of Fame, he said 2 sports writers voted against him. Stephen A. told the white boy on there, he said, I like to know who the 2 idiots that voted against Hank Aaron. Who are the
I
idiots?
agree.
And even the white guy that was on it with him, what's his name?
Max Kellerman.
Max,
Yeah,
another
Max
white guy. Another white guy. He was cool too. The white guy was cool. He said, Stephen A., I agree with you. Who are the two idiots and stuff like that? So like I said, I'm giving Stephen A. his props for stepping to the plate. Who are the two idiots that will vote against Hank Aaron? He should have been a unanimous choice for the Hall of Fame. I mean, are you kidding me? But anyway, let me move on, Chris. And again, my heart goes out to Hank, one of my all-time favorite baseball players, man. May Allah be pleased with him and grant Hank paradise. Jason Whitlock. And Chris, listen to me carefully, my brother. I want you and Brother Jordan and your audience to listen to me. Chris, you and John Mitchell, Dow Bell, Bill Rowland, the gloves are off. Y'all got to stop being nice. Y'all got to put out a statement, and y'all got to ostracize Jason Whitlock from the black community. This Negro is a disgrace. I'm not going to sugarcoat my words this morning because he's a disgrace. I heard him on Wednesday night, the day Joe Biden got inaugurated, right? Him and Kamala Harris. He was on it with that racist Tucker Carlson.
Oh, God, that guy. This the same Tucker Carlson they said Michael Vick should have been executed for the dog thing. I mean, are you kidding me? Well, anyway, this is where Jason Whitlock is dangerous. This guy's nobody to play with. He's a self-hating Negro, and he can cause out people our lives. This is seriously. This fool was on there telling Tucker Carlson, of course, he's like a little house Negro like him, so he's going to sit there and tell Tucker, as an African-American, I constantly get attacked because I'm a black man and I hold conservative views and all that stuff. And, I get so tired of the mainstream media portraying our people as being racist and thugs. He says those people that went into the Capitol, he said these was peaceful, patriotic Americans, and now they've been painted as terrorists and racists. I'm saying, dude, these people took a fire extinguisher. Listen to me carefully, Brother Chris Murray and Jordan. These white thugs took a fire extinguisher and they bashed a white cop's head in with it. You understand? They wasn't peaceful. Absolutely.
They bashed the cop's head in, man. And it was a white fireman that brought the fire extinguisher. He was among the mob. These people were shouting racial slurs. The black guard, police took off for their chase. They was calling him the N-word. And Chris, and y'all might not know about this. I read this in People magazine. Those bigots, they urinated and defecated all over the Capitol. You heard I just said, Chris? They urinated.
Yeah, I did hear about. That I did hear about. But let me say, let me jump in here and say something.
Hold on, Chris, let me come back. Go ahead and say it, Chris. But let me come back because I got to finish this up, Chris.
Okay, no, I got you. Well, my view on Jason Whitlock, I bro, I mean, I ignore Jason Whitlock. Okay, I ignore Jason Whitlock, because he can go on and just as I don't watch Fox News. I mean, sometimes my mom will watch Fox News just to hear the other side. But some of it, after about 5 minutes, you just want to throw a brick at the TV set,
right.
or something, or basically jump out of a window because it's like, come on, man, you guys
a lot of
are
bogus
nuts.
stuff.
They say a lot of bogus, and Jason Whitlock has always been, and Joe, this is where I think you're right, that Joe has been kind of a self-hating black person. I debated him on Comcast over C. Vivian Stringer, and of course he was the designated, conservative, and it's just he's become a joke, a good sports writer who has become a joke. Go on.
But Chris, let me say this in closing, Chris. But see, where he's dangerous at, Chris, he's telling this white commentator. Listen to me carefully, brother Chris. He's telling this white commentator who's a conservative, Tucker Carlson. He's telling him that it's okay for white cops to kill. But this is what he said. Now, over the summer, when they had George Floyd get killed, Breonna Taylor shot in her own house. This Negro got up there and told this white man that he getting tired of the police being painted to have killed minorities. He said they was just doing their job. I'm like saying, doing your job when you shoot a 12-year-old child, Tamir Rice. You shoot a woman that's in her house in Louisville, Kentucky, wrestling with her in a house with a boyfriend, and they coming in unlawfully, breaking the door down, shooting and blowing this lady away. You got the sister in Chicago that was a social worker that was arrested by the white cops up there. They put her handcuffs on that woman naked, pin her outside in the cold Chicago air. What is this Negro talking about? This is my point, Chris. He's nobody to play with. This guy is dangerous. He letting the white man know that it's okay to kill them ends because he's a self-hating self-hating nigga. That's why y'all need to ostracize. Y'all need to release the statements. Black sports writers that got consciousness, y'all need to release your statement as a whole, not as one individual, but as a block, saying we totally disagree with Jason Whitlock. As far as we're concerned, he is not part of the black community. Because you can, like Cecil B. Moore said, Chris, you can be my color, but you're not my kind. And he's a self-hating Negro. This man is nobody to play. He's dangerous, man. I never see it. This man is so bad, Chris. He made Clarence Thomas look like a militant almost. This guy is terrible, man. I've been watching him over the years. He's a man, I'm telling you. And I'm saying, Chris, in closing, Chris, y'all need to release a statement as a whole, like I said, denouncing this guy for who he is. He's no good. He's no damn good. And thank you for letting me express myself, Chris. Thank you.
No problem. Well, Jordan, here's how I feel about it. I mean, I don't read, my thing is, I don't read any of Jason Will. I will look at it and you dismiss. We in the sports writing community, we amongst the brothers, we dismiss it. We was like, come on, that's just Jason talking, you know, whatever. And when he talks all this stuff, I mean, first of all, you know, I hate to break it down to a lot of people, but, you know, the Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, the Fox News, that crowd don't like black people anyway. Even without Jason Whitlock, they will always find, you know, they will always find those black people who say yes to boss and agree with them. Bosses, we sick, and that kind of thing. And, you know, my thing is, I can't save those. I mean, like I say again, thankfully we have our own format, our own, you know, our own platforms that we can kind of talk and debate. Jason Whitlock, you know, like I say again, and I will agree with him. Not every brother is a brother. If Jason Whitlock, I mean, Jason Whitlock, when you say, I don't think Jason Whitlock is dangerous. I just think Jason Whitlock is another black, and we have so many black conservatives that, you know, there's a tendency the community ignores them to a large extent. I mean, and I don't mind, like I said again, if you're going to be a Republican as a black person, be Jackie Robinson. You know, be a Republican, be for fiscal conservatives and businesses. I get that. But don't act like, you know, don't turn a blind eye to racial injustice. And that's the problem I have with a lot of conservatives. Don't act like that thing don't exist and it's right there in your face just because you want to curry favor with conservatives. Nah, man. Nah. Call that John out, as we say in Philly. Call it out. Okay, if you're going to be just like the Democrats, just like Maxine Waters can call out Democrats for being a certain way, you know, that's the problem I have with black conservatives. They're like, oh, well, we don't think racism exists, sir. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go to, well, I know we got a few minutes. Are we at break time already?
Yeah, we got to go to break.
We got to go to break. Okay, so we got to go to break. And when we come back, I'm going to have Sonny from South Philly, Calvin from Delaware, and Frank from West Philly. So we come back first. So you're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD. The Chris Murray Report will be right back.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Announcing the Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for February is Long Time Coming, Reckoning with Race in America by Michael Eric Dyson, a New York Times bestseller that traces the roots of racism from slavery and Jim Crow to police police brutality. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, February 9th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. Yeah, I was just talking to my wife, and we mentioned something about Jason Whitlock. She says that we already have, to Brother Joe's point, ostracized Jason Whitlock. I firmly, I don't believe in. I mean, the man has his views, but sometimes people's views. Sometimes there are people, just like there are fringe groups amongst white people and things of that nature. People you just kind of like, man, just. I look at Jason. I know what's coming, and it's just like, yeah, whatever, man. And you just have to argue. You have to argue him down. I mean, you can say, he's not. And the thing is, you're not trying to get him to come to your side. You can. He's going to present his one set of facts. You present your others, and you move on. I mean, whatever. Like I say, some people don't want to be. If you don't want to be it down, we ain't begging. Folks ain't begging you. Okay, so we got Sonny from South Philadelphia. Sonny, how are you?
I'm fine, and thanks for taking my call. And I wish you a good marriage, you and your wife.
Thank you.
Joe really, Germantown Joe really put the cap on it, But I want to say this here, and I'm thinking about Johnny Sample. I'm thinking about what Johnny Sample said that made a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
When they talk, like, if you let me finish, like they talk about Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth record. I go along with Johnny Sample. He said, no, he didn't. He said because at that time, Johnny or Babe Ruth had a segregated record. Hank Aaron had an integrated record. And
interesting point from the late Johnny Sample. But go on.
I agree with that. I mean, you can't get around it. During the time he had white pitchers pitching to him. Babe Ruth didn't have Satchel Paige. He might have never hit a ball.
That's true.
So it was different. So when you're talking about breaking his record, let's look at segregation and integration. There was one time you couldn't drink at any fountain. They had a white fountain and a black fountain. Mm-hmm. So when anybody could drink from a fountain, or you could go in this restaurant, everything is not the same. So it separated itself.
Okay. So that's a good point. That's a very good point in a sense that you didn't have all the best.
I just wanted to keep it alive. Like, that's Johnny Sample's thing, and I just want to keep it alive because it makes good sense. And I've talked to some white folks, and it's something you can't get around. Integration and segregation. Segregation, you paid your money in the front and then go to the back. Integration, you pay your money in the front and sit anywhere you want to.
You're right about that. I mean, because let's face it, you didn't have the best players. No, but I would say that Johnny's right. But when you look at it historically, you didn't have Major League Baseball didn't have the best players, and they kept out a major league because, as you know, recently, the Negro leagues were they were considered a major league, and they kept out the best players, some of the best players in the country, and so I can see it from that perspective. that, you know, you didn't let everybody play. You didn't let Josh Gibson play.
Right.
And you didn't let Josh Gibson play. You didn't let some of the big kids. You didn't let Oscar Charleston play. You didn't let those guys play. So from that standpoint, I definitely see where you're coming from. I got to take the next caller, but thank you for the call.
Say something really quick? Can I just say something really quick?
Go ahead, say something really quick.
Okay. You know, when we say he broke record, you know, who he that has on the goal has the control. The white fellas, they let us in there. They say he broke. He never did. Segregation, integration. Thank you. See you later.
Take it easy. Okay, we have Calvin from Delaware. Where in Delaware are you at, Calvin?
Hey, Chris, congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I'm down in Newcastle.
Oh, you in Newcastle? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm down in Newcastle. You know, this thing, the Sixers play the Lakers next week. So that should be interesting to kind of see how the game goes, you know. But,
yeah.
You know, like, they're going to have to deal, I think they still have to deal with Brooklyn. You know, like, even though, like, they lost, you know, the last couple of games, but they still have to deal with them. You know.
Oh yeah, it's a long season. I mean, right now the Sixers are 11-5. They're the number one team in the Eastern Conference for now.
Yeah.
It's a long way to go, but I see some good things. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But I see some good things like the last couple of games when Boston was making a run, the defense really stepped up. Did you see any of that last year? Not really, not a whole lot.
No, I mean, they like the sharing the ball and everything, you know. But I wanted to touch on this thing with the NFL. You know, I was looking at, I saw the thing where the Eagles hired this new guy, this Sirianni, and like I was like, look at all the teams. It's like 32 teams in the NFL, 2 black coaches. You know, Mike Tomlin over there in Pittsburgh, and it's a brother down in Miami. And then you got Rick Rivera,
Flores,
Puerto Rican down, you know, the Washington Football Club. I mean, and then like 70% of the players are black. I mean, you know, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's like every year it's the same thing. I mean, they had like 8 openings this year, and they ain't hiring no black coaches. I mean, it's ridiculous. And every year it's the same thing, you know. But it's just, you know, this plantation system. You know, the old boys network. I mean, but then again, like if you look at the demographics of the fans who generally go to these games, they're overwhelmingly white males, Republicans. You know, so you know, and then you know some of these owners. I mean, they were like Trump supporters, like you know Jerry Jones down there in Dallas and the Kraft up there in New England. You know, so they just want to continue to maintain this, you know, this plantation system. You know, but it's just,
well,
I mean, you know, go ahead.
Well, you know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Calvin, but you know, I was reading Mike Florio's article this morning, and I'm looking at the comments. I mean, it's like the people, like a lot of white folks just don't get it. I mean, either they don't get it, or they don't want to get it, or the whole idea of equality. To a lot of white people, as my lovely wife Denise likes to say, that equality to a lot of white people is akin to oppression, because the idea of actually, I don't know, being equal or having to share, you know, to having an equal chance with black people and other minority, I hate to use the term minority groups, but other peoples of color, you know, that for some people. The idea that you will be calling for that, because remember that, you know, for a long time there was resistance to the black quarterback, and there were all these things. There were all these things out there that said we shouldn't have black quarterbacks, or blacks can't play quarterback. And so, from that standpoint, you know, there's always going to be this white. It seems like, especially a lot of white men are always going to have this pushback. And I think that everyone knows is that, hey, look, why is it that black coaches have to go through, black people in this society, we have jobs. It was the same thing in journalism. It's the same thing in sports writing. It's like we have to go through an inordinate amount of hoops just to get there. We have to fight to get in. And I'll say this publicly. I don't care. And I hope in some ways I'll be here. Black publications like The Sun, we're trying to get credentialed to cover the Philadelphia 76ers. And we have to fight them to get us in. Okay? That's the mindset and that's the mentality. That same thing with you know, if I were to go apply for credentials to cover the game, we would have to go through some kind of hoops because for some reason people don't take black media outlets seriously. They really don't. And you have to fight through all that stuff in order to get places. And so this is the thing. This is why we keep fighting for these things. I'm glad Joe Biden has said something about dealing with systemic racism, but you want to see it tangibly. You don't want to see symbolism. That's all we've been getting the last few years, but that's the way it is. And so same thing with black coaches in the NFL. This guy, some of the coaches that are being hired have never had play calling experience because they'll say, well, Eric Bieniemy doesn't call the plays. Well, there are a lot of coaches who didn't have play calling experience, and yet they're coaching. So a linebackers coach, tight end coach, okay? White guys can do all those things, and somebody can say that he's a head coach. And I'm like, come on, man. They're always moving the bar. They're always moving the bar back. They're always changing the rules of the game, and it always amounts down to that. But because I'm saying it as a black male, oh, you're just being bitter and evil. I'm like, nah, man. No. Same thing as talk radio. Say it again.
I'm just saying that's just the reality, And the thing is, if they're bringing in this guy to work with Carson Wentz, where does that leave Jalen Hurts? I mean, are they going to train him if they're thinking that this guy can just rehab Carson Wentz and he's going to be the quarterback? When Jalen Hurts was in there, he was moving the team. I mean, they were behind him. He was making things happen. I mean, they're going to just give all that up. They just think if they can rehab Carson Wentz. But it's always this double standard. It's always a double standard. Like Jeffrey Lurie was saying that one of the reasons why I like this Sirianni guy because he knows the Philly offense because he worked with Frank Wright. Well, Deuce Staley's right here. He knows the Philly offense too. So it's always this hypocrisy, double standard. But thanks for letting me say that. I just wanted to kind of get that out.
Okay.
Yeah, and plus the man never even played. He never even called any plays either while he was over there in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
I'm
but
here.
It's a different thing. But see, it's always been. We got Frank from West Philly, and then I'm going to bring in John Mitchell. So go ahead, Frank. Sorry to keep you waiting, dude.
That's all right. Good morning. I want to just
Good morning.
keep it on a lighter note with Hammer and Hank Aaron. I remember I'm 70 years old now, and at that time, that era, black folks loved baseball. We did. We knew players on each team. And two quick things. When Hank Aaron when he was in the running to break Babe Ruth's record, baseball didn't even know he was that close to breaking Babe Ruth's record. They looked up and said, oh, wait a minute. This guy can break Babe Ruth's record. And don't forget, when Hank Aaron was hitting them home runs, man, he was hitting them off Juan Marichal, Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, Bob Osteen. He was hitting those homers off some great pitchers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, he was. And especially in the 1960s. I'm going to tell you something. There's a certain level of respect in the 90s because that was a decade of the pitcher. And I think Kurt Flood, who should be in the Hall of Fame for a variety of other reasons, batted 300, I think about 4 or 5 times in that decade. I had to double check that. I said 6 times. I don't want to double check, but he batted to bat 300. I mean, it was so bad. And I think 67. I think it was 67 or 60. I think Carl Yastrzemski led the American League in one of those years with a 301 batting average. 301. Yeah. Okay. So you had a lot of great pitchers in that era in both leagues, and so I'm with you on that. So yeah, Hank Aaron, man, Hank Aaron was just he was just phenomenal. I mean, he was just that great a player, and guy he carried himself with such dignity, and he had to put up with a lot of stuff. So like I say, Frank, thank you for the call, and I want to bring in John Mitchell, and I understand Darrell Bell's on too, but I want to bring in, and I'll bring in Darrell on in a minute. John, I got to tell you, I was reading Mike Florio's article today on NBCSports.com, and I read the comments section. And I read the comment section in the sense that that's really where the racism really comes out. What are your thoughts on the whole coaching carousel? A lot of white people, for some reason, think that any hint of equality, understanding the history that black people don't generally get those jobs in coaching, and remember how long it took for black quarterbacks to be accepted in the National Football League. Well, the idea. I mean, black quarterbacks still get the kind of scrutiny that maybe white quarterbacks don't get even now. But that's where we are right now. So John, before we go to break, I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, you can just look at the coaches. Look at the quarterback position. Look at how Mitch Trubisky becomes more valuable or is seen as a better prospect than a Deshaun Watson.
Right.
And so it's the same thing with coaching. This should be like an annual show, Chris. And so, at some point in January, we gather after Black Friday in December, after all NFL, all the white coaches have been fired, to find out this whole group of names of white coaches we've never heard of before, who all of a sudden become more qualified than an Eric Bieniemy or a Deuce Staley, guys who have Super Bowl pedigree behind them, and it's just really reflective. The reason I brought the Mitch Trubisky and the Deshaun Watson comparisons, because as great as Deshaun Watson played in college at Clemson, and the ringing endorsement that he got from Dabo Swinney, talent evaluators could not see beyond their racism and say that a guy that played for North Carolina or Duke, wherever Mr. Trubisky is from, played against the competition. Yeah, Carolina is the better player of the two. And it rolls right over into coaching. One thing about coaching is you don't know what you don't know when it comes to hiring coaches, and there just simply aren't enough coaches and any black coaches in the pipeline to change the complexion of the head coaching booth.
Wow.
So that's what you have. You have a guy. Actually, I'm kind of glad Eric Bieniemy didn't take the Eagles job now, because I think the Eagles are in a horrible position right now moving forward. So I'm glad he didn't take that job. But yeah, you would expect in a league that's 70% black, with black coaches. Like I noticed one guy, D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico Ryans is a guy who seems to be headed up. The former Eagles linebacker is now defensive coordinator somewhere. He seems to be headed up the pipeline. But yeah, there is America has intractable racism in everything. Nothing is excluded from it, whether it's teaching, whether it's journalism. White people will continue to be coddled and cloistered by their own, and that's how it's reflected in the sparse numbers of African Americans to get these jobs. Like I assumed, and I haven't even really been following the coaching. I didn't start paying attention to the coaching carousel until I heard that Eric Bieniemy hadn't been hired. Because I just assumed. You say this guy last year he's coaching. He
was the hot assistant, right?
He was the hot assistant. So I just assumed in this, the whole Black Lives. We've gone through a year of Black Lives Matter. We've gone through George Floyd. We've gone through Breonna Taylor. You would think that at some point you would appeal to the bigotry that is innate to racism. But now we find out January, it didn't. You know, I mean, this guy is the shining pearl. Eric Bieniemy is the shining pearl, the crown jewel of coordinators, and it looks like we're going to go through the cycle. I don't want him to get the Houston job. Why do you want the Houston job? Because if the racism is so bad there, and let's not forget about Houston, that's the owner that said, you know, he doesn't want the inmates running the asylum. So we know,
I have to go to break. Yeah, I don't mean to cut you. I got to go to break. But hold that thought when we come back. You're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD, the Chris Murray Report. We'll be right back.
Did you hear the word around the community? HPP and HPF's very own Stacey Scott will be reporting live from WURD, 96.1 FM and 900 AM each and every fourth Sunday of the month from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. Be sure to spread the word and tune in. Want to call in and be a part of the community party? Email Stacey Scott at scott@hpplans.com. Again, that is scott@hpplans.com.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. I have both Daryl Bell and John Mitchell on with us. We can bring in Daryl, right now. But first, I want to bring in Brother Tom from South Philadelphia. Brother Tom, what do you have to say?
Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good. Everybody's doing good.
Good. And congratulations to you, Chris, on you and your marriage.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
What I want to tell people is that, the NBA and the WNBA, they showed the strength of the players by shutting down what happened to Floyd and Breonna Taylor. They shut it down when that stuff happened to them. Now, I can't understand what's going on in the NFL. Now, the Player Association has some control. I don't know. Maybe the owners have control over the players, but they did do a couple things. If the Player Association will put in, now I know this is going to be way out there, if they would put in that every team got to have either a black head coach or a black general manager that has some type of power, I think that would make a change. Because if you don't do that, it'll never change. And that's the only
you do have the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule says that you have to interview at least one minority candidate. I hate that term, minority. But the thing is, that's the rule. Okay. That hasn't, and that rule right now, John, please bring in Daryl. That's Right. It's a joke because the owners are going to hire, and they are not generally comfortable with black people, and I think we still live in a country. We still live in a country where white people simply are not comfortable with us. I don't know why. I don't get it, but there's still a mindset and a mentality that these coaches, these owners they don't like the idea of black people running. I mean, except with the exception of Pittsburgh, and the thing is, you get to that point to where, any talk of equality, no matter what age we are in, whether it's 1960s, it's this idea that we're just asking for too much. Well, there's no white running backs and all that. And I'm like, whoa, that's not even the issue. It's the one area.
It's not the issue.
It's not the issue. It's not even close to the issue. Go ahead.
And here's the deal. Excuse me for talking over you, Chris. The field of play kind of takes away much of the color because fans go to these stadiums. It's like the one moment where people in this country are not consumed by colorism. So if you can people want the best players that are playing for their football team. They know that African Americans. The playing field is the one area where there are no restrictions. Where it's like we have to put our best product out on the field so we can make what's most important to us, which is our money. So right. You have you're going to find guys, black athletes playing the running back position. You don't because there is there's a real meritocracy there. The best person gets the job. You go when you go to find. When was the last time you heard a white guy who played cover corner? I think you quote unquote. You may have to go all the way back to Jason Sehorn, who really wasn't a cover corner when he was playing for the Giants. You don't hear those terms because it's basically throw everybody out there without any favorites and see who wins the job. And more often than not, it's the black person who excels because it's a free competition. That doesn't exist when it comes to coaching. When it comes to coaching, when it comes to picking people who will run your team, it becomes preferential. It becomes who I know. Who am I comfortable with? Even if he is a squalid, abject failure like that, like Adam Gates, for instance. There's no way that the recently fired New York Jets coach. There's no way Deuce Staley could be as incompetent as an Adam Gates. There's just no way. And Adam Gates, as bad as he was in New York, will wind up on somebody else's roster, get recycled, and you'll hear the media. The media will begin to create these narratives that they really don't know. They just start creating them because somebody white in a management or ownership position planted it with him that this guy is the hot commodity. And he's always going to be a white. It's never, ever the black person who gets anointed. And we can go right up to the NBA. And I know we're talking about the NFL, but how did Steve Nash become anointed in his first coaching job to get the Brooklyn Nets, a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and now James Harden? How did Steve Kerr become anointed in his first coaching job to get the job at the Golden State? They become anointed because of whiteness. Let me repeat that. Whiteness anoints you in America. It's the way America has always been, which is why we will continue to get together every January to talk about the disparities in coaching. Because white America, I mean, let's be quite honest about what America is. America is a country that ever since 1619, and actually before that, has never looked at black people as equal as a country. It has never said these black. It has always said, and that's a wicked sickness of white America.
Yeah, that's a key point. That's very true. I mean, that's why I always say that every epoch of American history, that every time black people get a little something, there's always the pushback that try to keep you in that place. And you always have to keep pushing backward. Let's bring Daryl in real quick. Daryl, what are your thoughts before we had to go yet to another break? Daryl, what are your thoughts on that?
Good morning. You can make someone fire you. You can't make anyone hire you. That's the bottom line. And unfortunately, John hit a home run. We have never been equal since we came here at 16 acres. And don't ever think that the table will be equal. What has occurred in professional sport, and I'm going to go with the NFL because every year I run a piece on top black coaching candidates. And we are in 2021, and we're still talking about the same thing. It's crazy.
Right.
I was watching a documentary on the late, great Hank Aaron, who I had the pleasure of knowing a little bit. When he said that he wanted to be a black manager or a black commissioner, people laughed at him. Now, I mean, here's a guy who broke Babe Ruth's record, and people are laughing at him.
Right.
So it seems like no matter what, you talk about Eric Bieniemy and why he's not getting the job. I remember distinctly when Tony Dungy was going to jobs, it was, he doesn't interview well. What do you mean he doesn't interview well? He doesn't cut a steak properly. He talks about eating chitterlings instead of eating filet mignon. I mean, it's a joke. And John said it best, is who they're comfortable with. And until we become a society, and I do mean this globally, where everyone is respected equally, we're going to have this problem. Look at what's going on in football, well, if you would call soccer here, overseas. Black players are always getting harassed. They're not being called names. Bananas are being thrown on the field.
Right.
It's very frustrating. And then too, a lot of it has to do with how the media, which we know, you and I and John, we know who are at these games. You see a black person at an NFL game, they deserve to be there. There's a reason why they're there. But you can pick them out and say, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, guys, we got to go to break. Here's the situation. John, I want you to stay on with me for about another half hour. And Daryl, can you come back at about 12:30? Because I want to talk to you about some other things as well. So we got to go to break. And when we come back, we're going to be bringing in Joe San Liquido to talk, who wrote articles about Carson Wentz and how he's been somewhat vindicated by the local media around here. So we'll be right back. Listen to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD, the Chris Murray Report. Will be right back.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the mattress man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
Your child deserves to be educated in a safe and supportive learning environment. Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School, a tuition-free public school, is accepting applications for the 2021-2022 school year. SLAC's 2 locations offer single-gender classrooms in a dual-gender environment. Kindergarten and first-grade classrooms have a 15-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Students learn music, art, and fitness. Southwest Leadership educates the whole child, preparing students to become leaders. slacks-phila.org, Instagram at Southwest Leadership Academy, or email info@slacks-phila.org.
This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. Okay, we're expecting Joe San Luquido to call in on one of our lines pretty soon. If not, I'll fetch him up. Oh, he's on now.
Yep.
Thank Jordan, you are the man. You like I say, you're my favorite producer and whatnot. I'll say that when Eric Nixon comes on too, but you're doing a good job. Okay, now, one of the things that this new coaching change that we're talking about between Mitchell and Joe San Luquido is the fact that Carson Wentz, I think that the Eagles are banking on Nick Sirianni to somehow fix or repair or to do something to Carson Wentz. And I got to ask, I'm going to start with you, Joe, and then John, you come back. You can come on in on this. Joe, can Carson Wentz be fixed?
He can be, Chris. He can be. And it's something that I said and wrote about. We know now infamously 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's something I stand by. But here's the major problem. That also something I wrote 2 years ago that I took a lot of grief for, and I still stand by, is whether or not Carson Wentz wants to be fixed. This question. That is the huge question, because hell knows a number of people have been in there in that room and in that facility with him and have tried to fix him. And sometimes it took some banging and some smashing and some grinding, not only grinding of teeth, but grinding of egos. And eventually, we saw some of what could happen in 2017. I don't think that 2017 version we'll never see again, but I think we could see a quarterback who could be an effective, efficient quarterback in the NFL. He is not the next coming of Aaron Rodgers, which a lot of people in the city thought he was. He is not the next coming of Tom Brady, which a lot of people in the city thought he was. But he can be, I'll tell you what, he could be Matt Stafford. He can be Matt Stafford, which wouldn't be that bad. But he needs to be willing to accept coaching. He needs to be willing to accept accountability. And 2 years ago, some oval-shaped, bald-headed knucklehead that you know very well wrote that, and it seemed to be fall on tough ears and deaf ears that people weren't willing to listen. And then Christina Anderson did a nice thing again to bring up some certain other little things, which, again, people pushed back on and didn't seem to want to listen to. And Jeff McClain, and I've said it privately and I'll say it publicly, Jeff McClain did a hell of a job this time last week. Did a very, very scathing story. And let's also be realistic with one another, Chris, covering many of the same pieces that I covered. Right.
I mean, that seems to be the overall picture, and it seems that, and I think we talked about this before. It seemed like the criticism that you got, I mean, Carson Wentz was supposed to be this big-time hero, because I know that if Donovan McNabb had performed as poorly as Carson Wentz did, say, last year, or even a couple of years ago, they'd be wanting to run him out of town on a rail. And and be honest about this, and both of you guys, be honest about this. Is it all the stuff that I guess why people are so protective of Carson, is it still that desire to have this sort of, this great white quarterback in this town, even though I think Nick Foles, led the championship and everybody loved Nick. But is it because Carson Wentz is the golden boy, so to speak?
I think it's
let me hop in here. First of all, Joe, it's good to hear your voice, man. We haven't seen each other in a month of Sundays, man. But glad to hear your voice, and I'm glad to be on here with the guy because I fell in love with Carson Wentz after his second season. I was like, you know what? I was on board with those people who were saying we've got a guy who goes through the line of scrimmage, he dissects the defense, and he figures it out immediately. But we haven't seen that quarterback now since 2007, since December of 2017. We haven't seen him. And when Joe, when you say that you think he can be fixed, you're down there every Sunday. You're in that locker room, so I'll defer to you. But the excuses that were made for Carson, it's in contrast to what you wrote. Carson works too hard. Carson, you know what? Show me the professional athlete that wants to win too badly. That to me that becomes a cliche. He wants to win too badly because I think Allen Iverson wanted to win as badly as possible, but he was never given the wiggle room. It went from that conversation to Allen Iverson's posse. With Carson Wentz, it goes from, well, he wants to win too hard, and he goes to Haiti, and he helps poor children in Haiti, which God bless him for. We need more people doing that kind of work. But I just think that the Carson Wentz that I saw, and this year, is too broken. He was by far, I thought he was, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, I thought he was easily the worst professional football player on the North American continent last year. And I will say that the game that really, really sold it for me, because I'm a Carson Wentz fan. It was that game, it was the Cleveland game, when he looked at Jalen Reagor beyond the sticks and ready to pick up, who knows how many yards he picked up, and he looked him off, and he threw that inexcusable pick six against the Browns, an inexcusable pick six. I left the house, and I said, I'm done with the Eagles today. I got to Target, turned my radio on, and he's being sacked in the end zone for safety. So in the span of about 20 minutes, he's giving Cleveland 9-10 points. 9 points. I don't see a quarterback who can be fixed. Like you said, I agree. We'll never ever. There's just been no indication that we will ever see the 2017 version of Carson Wentz. And I'll let Joe jump in here. I think the one comparison I make is, had the Eagles drafted Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf, I think today we would be saying those guys can't play because Carson has just been that bad. That's my opinion.
Okay. Joe, what do you say to that? I mean, because like I said again, they've given him weapons, and like I said, Alshon Jeffrey, although he's been hurt, has never been heard from again. And then when Jalen Hurts is in the game, boom, all of a sudden you see him. What's up with that?
What's up with that, again, is they're not only got to fix Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has to do some fixing himself, again, not only on himself, but again, I hate to say it, and we'll go back to 2 years ago, he has to fix the fracture in that locker room. I mean, it is not good. I'm not going to go any further than that. But he has to do some fixing of his own, and he has to do some addressing of his own. And again, Chris, as we know, when he came out with that report that came out nationally about the trade and everything else like that, the deal is it pissed off a lot of people, and it pissed off a number of people in that locker room and in that building. You're suddenly abandoning us. What's going on over here, and you're supposed to be the face of this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So there are numerous issues that Carson Wentz is going to have to address. And again, this will be, think about it, in 2019, he had to address these issues. And this is going to be the second time now in 3 years that he's going to have to. Now, remember, they call them the Gang of Six. Remember they called the six reporters down there, Chris?
Right.
You weren't called. And this was to call in Wentz to react to what I had read. And what I shouldn't say, let me put it this way. What I was told. Now I could say I can go on a victory lap and all this other stuff. Well, you know what? I'll go on the victory lap for the 8 guys. Well, actually it was 15 total. But the 8 original guys that spoke to me and had the guts to speak to me about what was going on in there. They're the ones that deserve the kudos. They're the ones that said, we've got to get this team right. We're going to turn around and go straight. Everything's put into one Carson Wentz basket. And you got to realize there's 52 other guys on this blankety-blank team, family radio station, but you fill in those words. And those words, by the way, were repeated to me numerous times with different people that have warned that
Right.
So everything's catered to him. Well, now suddenly I don't count. I don't exist. And it's weird, too, because, again, referring back to the piece 2 years ago, some of the guys were like, why are you taking such grief, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, it's easy because I'm the one that was told, myself personally, I don't count. I don't matter. I don't exist,
Right.
And the individuals will say that I spoke to for that story, they're like, dude, you have so much in common with us. It's freaking frightening, and that's the way we feel. We don't count. We don't matter.
Wow.
We don't exist.
The players said
this.
Football
team that think that way. Am I going to turn around and stretch myself out for a pass that Carson Wentz throws to me? I don't think so. Am I going to block the way I should block to protect his sorry? You know what? So it's interesting. And you guys both saw what I saw. You saw guys stretching out for Jalen Hurts. You saw guys going all out for Nick Foles.
Right.
You saw guys turn around and doing things for these two quarterbacks that, wasn't done too often for 11. Think about that. Think about that. Just the human nature quality of and the makeup of this team, who guys were going out for and who guys weren't going out for. And you don't have to be a mathematician or a football expert or me, Chris, or you, or anyone else to see it. It was there for everyone to see.
Right. And that seems to be the thing. I mean, I looked at the way Jalen Hurts played at the end of last season, but I gotta ask, and this is the thing that I've wondered about. Troy Aikman supposedly said that, that Peterson had a better relationship with Hurts than he did with Wentz. I'm of the opinion and of the view that that Jalen Hurts was somebody that the franchise that Howie Roseman and those guys brought in, and I don't think Peterson was really quite down with that at first, bringing him in, although he cleaned it up later, but I don't think he was down with that. What happens to Jalen Hurts if Wentz comes back? I mean, what do they do with Jalen Hurts?
He goes back to
I think it's a cut and dry business.
Oh, guys. Joe, you go ahead, and then John. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
He deserves the chance, but he won't get the chance, and he'll be pushed aside and robbed of an opportunity to be the starting quarterback because of the petulant child in the playpen throwing all of his toys out because he's angry.
Right. Okay.
I'm getting angry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, Chris.
No, go ahead, man. I love the enthusiasm. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with him. I mean, here's a guy who, they gifted a $128 million contract, and they're basically saying, again, the way I saw it, Doug Peterson gave Carson Wentz opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to redeem himself for his miserable play throughout the 2017 season, the 2020 season. People were calling for him to be benched. I'm sure you guys heard that in the locker room. I'm sure you got those interesting second looks after an interview was completed. We've got to do something with him. And for that rumor, that story to come out, and Adam Schefter put it out, it's been deeply sourced. But that story to come out that it's either you, Doug Peterson, or me, one of us has to go. He knows he's got the leverage because this team is married to him, that they've married themselves to him with this ridiculous contract, which he hasn't earned. He hasn't played to that level since 2017. And I'll look at the Aaron Rodgers in there. There's really no reason to put Carson Wentz in the same breath as Aaron Rodgers. But just for conversational sake and purposes, when Aaron Rodgers' potential replacement was more highly regarded quarterback than Jalen Hurts was brought in, how did Aaron Rodgers respond? He's the MVP. He's going to win the league MVP this year. Carson Wentz got benched, deservedly so, because the Eagles were still contesting to win the worst division perhaps we've ever seen in the history of professional sports in America. When they benched him, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm the guy with the $128 million deal. It's 2021 is so far down the road. You know, let's not plant a story about the coach or me. You know, let's not plant that story. Let's show up and show people that, you know what, I am the guy who can run this, who should be running the quarterback position for the Philadelphia Eagles. And in that moment, when that story was planted through either him, his agents, his representatives, whoever planted that story, he was basically telling me that he doesn't even want competition for a job he demonstrated that he wasn't worthy of this year. So I've got huge problems with a guy like Carson Wentz. And all the stuff that Joe talks about the fractures in the locker room, you know, you can see it. You know, you can see it in the way his teammates, like you said, players don't stretch out for him. You know, nobody is you know, when a guy gets beat, the offensive line, you know, he just gets beat. You don't see any more fight. You see less fight whenever that guy's on the field. I don't see a leader of men in Carson Wentz. And going back to your point, Chris, if anybody has seen a quarterback regress to this point, let me know. Had that been Donovan McNabb or an African-American quarterback, he would have been pulled from the starting lineup. You know,
yeah.
If he were causing that much division in the locker room, he would have been benched in October. You know?
Right.
So
that's
what you have, though.
That's true. That's true, and I think that there's that double standard. But what does this mean to the Eagles moving forward? Because, you know, the way Jeffrey Lurie was talking in the press conference that he gave a couple of weeks ago, he was basically saying that, you know, this is going to be they're looking at doing a kind of a long-term rebuild. I don't think they're going to try to win for 2021. I think that this is a rebuild. You know, how does this whole thing affect the Eagles going forward? Or how do you project that Carson's back here, not very popular? Are they going to get rid of all the guys who didn't like him? How does that work? How do we project? How do we project that out there? Because, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, but, you know, they're bringing him back, and how is that going to affect the locker room?
Well, this team's not going to be very good for, 2 or 3 years.
Right.
I think the Eagles have come out and admitted themselves and said they need a rebuild, and they do. You have an aged, old offensive line coming back. You have the defense is, I mean, God bless Fletcher Cox and what they're going to put up with. But here's the other kicker to the whole story, and this is the gist of it. Even if you do get Carson Wentz right and you do fix him,
right?
He's 28. He'll be 29, 30, 31. Some of his prime years, if not his prime years, will be wasted, even if he does come back. I'll go a step further. Even if he does come back to play at the 2017 level, which I still don't think is ever going to happen, but even if he comes back to play at that high level again, he's not going to be surrounded with everything he was surrounded with in 2017. He's going to be part of his prime is going to be wasted with a team in disarray and a team in rebuild. So even if the quarterback is repaired, the team is still in disrepair. And it is it's going to take a while. And they either have to turn around and get something for him while they can, you know, or watch this thing really come apart. I mean, next year, Chris, I'm just asking, John, I mean, you see their number, 4? You know, under over 4? Or maybe 5?
Number 6.
I mean, they were 4-11-1 last season.
Number 6. The number 6, and they're talking about the draft. Yeah,
no,
they're number
6. I'm talking about the number of wins in 2021.
How
many games can this team actually win? What we know about this team right now, going into next season, in 2021. I mean, they're going to be. Are they 5? Are they 5? Over under 5?
Yeah,
they're not going to win more than 8 games in 2021.
No, that's a very real number. You know, I mean, the one thing I will say about the Eagles, you know, this is Howie's team. You know, and the guy responsible for that disarray is Howie. Now, the one thing I thought the Eagles with Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks, I thought that going into the season, and I felt this way for the past 3 years, that they've had the best right side of the offensive line in the league. I felt that way. And I think that has a huge, but there's just now, there's so many problems. Will they ever start? Will they ever commit to the running game? And that's where so much of it now. Not to stray away from your point, Joe, because I put the over under at 6. I put the over under at 6. I think a healthy Eagles team, and well, again, it always comes back to Carson Wentz with you have at quarterback, because it serves the better good of his team for him to come back and come close to 2017, which we both agree that you're not going to see that again unless you watch the 2017 season again. You know, so
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you fix it, but they're aging and they're mediocre.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing, and I think it's a personnel issue. Like I said, this is an aging team, and this is a team where God bless guys like Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and Jason Kelsey, but this is an older team, and I think in the end, this team is going to struggle for a couple of years, but they have to do a better job at selecting personnel and also selecting schemes. Like, there was no excuse to why Miles Sanders, especially with the team struggling, should have gotten more, touches on that football, both in the running game and in the passing game. And it's just that it was coaching, it was personnel, it was a combination of things, but it all falls back to Howie Roseman. And he has to bring in guys, and he is so far right now is not proving to be a good enough talent scout given the guys he has let go. So we are at our break point of the show. Guys, I gotta tell you, thank you so much, John, for your contributions today, Joe, and all that. We will somehow break this down. But you guys are
real quick, Chris.
Go ahead.
Joe, you're the boxing guy. How good is Boots, Joe?
Huh?
I'm sorry, how good is who?
How good is Boots?
Boot tennis?
Oh, Boots is fantastic.
Yeah, boot tennis is good. I saw him fight.
Real quick, guys. Scooter Fulton's fighting tonight on Showtime.
Okay.
He's a Philly guy. Fighting for world title.
Okay. All right. What part of Philly is he from?
That I don't know. I do know he's from Philly. He still lives in Philly.
What channel is that?
He's
where
fighting
can I get that, Joe?
Angelo Leo, Junior Featherweight Championship tonight on Showtime.
Okay. All right. We will certainly watch. Guys, again, we gotta do this. I'm gonna put you guys up on the screen, like a Zoomcast or something, because I love to talk this out.
I might work with John. I think I might scare. Yes,
I mean, they already have my face on the radio, so you wouldn't scare too many people. I mean, but
we can have
maybe a few I might not scare.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I gotta go to break. You're listening to 96. No problem, man. You're listening to 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURD. The Chris Murray Report will be right back.
Don't miss an unforgettable musical event on the Opera Philadelphia channel. Tyshawn Sori's Cycles of My Being. Cycles of My Being explores the realities of being a black man in America today through highly personal and powerful songs, asking the question, what does it mean to love a country that doesn't love you back? Starring world-famous tenor Lawrence Brownlee, Cycles of My Being available on demand on the Opera Philadelphia channel. Watch it on TVs, computers, and mobile devices. Rent Cycles of My Being at operaphila.tv.
Solutions on Word. Hosted by Dwayne Royster and Amadi Braxton. Solutions on Word. Exploring solutions to national, state, and local issues through the lens of race and gender. Solutions on Word. Fridays 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Solutions is sponsored by Power Interfaith Movement, working towards life, liberty, and democracy for all. Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on WordRadio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WordRadio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Independent black media.
Okay, we're back. Now, I meant to tell you, Jordan, to cue up a Sixers song just to be a knucklehead. Because wait for
Oh, man.
Hey, everybody, clap your hands now. 76ers. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. Now, I know I'm putting the cart before the horse. I don't mean to get so excited about this team because we're going to bring in Darryl Bell to come. I'm not trying to be all excited, but I like what I see so far.
Yeah.
Let me say that. We got a long season. Still a long way to go. But the last 2 games, I saw something in the last 2 games that we would not have seen on a consistent basis last season.
Oh, I agree.
Because I want to talk about like the last 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes of the last 2 games, the last maybe 7 minutes, 7 to 5 minutes, or 5 to 7 minutes of the last 2 games was where I saw this team's toughness. And you know, at this time last year, and the last few years under Brett Brown, is that this team, remember when this team would get out to a lead and then they would just blow it, and then, you know, they would fall apart in the fourth quarter of games. And I want to start. Let's just start with last night's game. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's go with last night's game. The Sixers win, and Joel Embiid has been playing. He had 44 points in the Wednesday game, 38 points last night. And I gotta tell you what I saw. Okay, so let's go. I'm putting up my sheet here. Let's go to fourth quarter. Let's go to the fourth quarter of last night's game. Okay, the Sixers at the 7:45 mark. Joel Embiid hit a 2-point shot. The score is 101 to 89. Okay, so the Sixers appear to have at that point a comfortable lead, right? A comfortable lead. They're winning the game. But then the Celtics, and I hope my math is right, the Celtics, you know, come to within three at the 440 mark. They had gone on a 14 to 2 run. I want to say, well, it's 89. I mean, 12. That's like a 12 to 2 run. My math is bad. They had gone on like a 12 to 2 run to cut the lead to 100 to 103 because they were down 101 to 89. Yeah. And they came back, so they cut the lead down. So they had gone on an 11 to 2 spurt, 11 to 2 scoring spurt to cut the lead. From that point on, the Sixers for the remainder of the game, they were up by 3. They basically increased the lead to 122 to 1. The final score was 122 to 110. They held the Celtics to just 5 points. The 5 points in the final 4 minutes and 44 seconds left in the game.
Yep.
And then the guy who took over the game during that stretch was Ben Simmons.
Yep.
Ben Simmons
That's
started.
When he woke up.
He made a dunk. He hit a 14 footer, and he scored most of his points last night during that run to close out the game. When have you seen? And then let's go back. Let's go back to the previous game. Let's go back a little bit. That was a closer game. Sixers win that game 117-109. Let's go back to Wednesday's game. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Okay, Celtics are winning. The Celtics at 6:53 of the fourth quarter, up 103-100. Okay, and so they're up 103-100, and then the Sixers down the stretch, so from that point forward, 103. So the Sixers outscored them 17-6 in the final 7 minutes of that game. The Sixers took over that game, played excellent defense. That's the common denominator. The common denominator in that run was that they played great defense in both of those games down the stretch.
Yep.
When have you seen it? When have we? Yeah, and close games. These were close games.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics. Now, granted, let's be honest. For full disclosure, like I say, they were playing without Jason. They were playing without Jason Tatum. They were playing without Jason Tatum, and they were, and then I think Kemba Walker didn't come back until last night. So they're playing without a couple of their best players. But nevertheless, the Celtics are a good team.
Oh yeah.
And you play that well, and I think that's Doc Rivers. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call, we've got lines open. 215-64-8065, 1-866-361-0900. What's the difference on the Sixers team? Who can tell me? Who among you can tell me? And I'll ask you as well, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
How much of a difference? What kind of a difference do you think that Doc Rivers has made for this team? For this particular team?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Number one is big-time accountability. You never really see it in Brett Brown last year. Like, just hold his players to the standard. And then the other thing is, like, of course, the shooting. You got the shooting. And then the defense is much better. Like, we have, like, the best defense in the league. And then three, also, Joel. Like, Joel's just playing with, it's like a chip on the shoulder compared to last year. Just playing with so much fire.
And I think he's in better shape this year. I mean, he still has lingering injuries, but he's coming with a certain commitment. Ben Simmons, even though I still think Ben is going to work on his game, but the Sixers have so many shooters around him.
Right.
I mean, Shake Milton. Milton
that's the other one too. He's been stepping up as well.
Shake Milton, he scored 31 points the other night. Am I right?
Yeah, he scored around there.
He scored over 30 points. Shake Milton is playing ball. I mean, these guys are just playing. And let's talk about Seth Curry. Well, we don't have the better of the Curry brothers, but the one we got ain't half bad, is he? He ain't half bad. He can hit that three. I mean, they've got guys. Even Furkan Kuzma is playing a little bit better. He doesn't play defense, but but here's a guy these guys are playing a whole. They got more guys. Tobias Harris is playing better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think that playing under Doc Rivers' system has made him. I mean, he was always a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's making a significant contribution. And so you got guys offensively, and they share the ball, but I like the way Simmons, as much as I've been, and I'm a critic of Simmons, and there's nothing, and it's nothing personal. I like Ben. I mean, Ben to me is the equivalent of Lamar Jackson. He's great athleticism, but you got to evolve your game, okay? So I ain't talking about NFL playoffs. I think I will, but the thing is, he's got to evolve his game. But what I saw last night, he took it to them. He took it to the Celtics last night.
Mm-hmm.
And that fourth quarter, that's something that we have talked about. We have talked about the idea that we needed somebody who's going to be a dog in that fourth quarter. And I think between Ben and Joel's going to the basket and getting fouled.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get 38 points and 44 points.
Easy, just like that.
If he does that, because who can guard him in the low post? And he's going to get those calls.
That's why players got to double team him.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Daryl back here. Daryl, I know it's early, but I'm seeing some good things from this Sixers team. And I know it's too early. I'm not going to even mention how they're going to do in the playoffs. I'm liking what I see in the here and now. What do you think?
Enjoy it. That's all I can say. Enjoy it. Right now, they're playing well. Embiid looks like he's in half decent shape. I'm not going to say he's in tip-top shape. He's having fun and enjoying the game, which is half the battle what they got.
Right.
they have the potential to do just like the Miami Heat did last year. Now, whether or not they are good enough to win it all, that's a whole different ball game. But they are.
I'll be happy to see them go to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's fine, just as a start. Start somewhere. Journey of 1,000 miles starts with 2 feet.
They've already been there. They've already been to that era. It's time to push that envelope a little more. Am I sad that they didn't get James Harden? They didn't need a James Harden per se.
No, they didn't.
If they can play like a super team, it will be good. The thing that bothered me more so far, the only game that has bothered me was when they played the Nets without KD, without Kyrie, and they got smoked.
Right.
That is something that that makes you think a little bit. They have an opportunity to gel as a unit, and as you can see, Doc Rivers is a vast improvement over Brett Brown. I don't want to hear Brett Brown could have done anything. Brett Brown couldn't even manage what they have. All right, Brett Brown was the past. Doc Rivers is the future. From this moment on, I love the guy who has two guys have impressed me the most: Shake Milton and Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Curry has learned how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he listened to his brother and won. And I noticed last year how he had improved his shot selection, and his game has picked up. Doc is using him and allowing him to play the way that his brother played. And if you notice, it worked fine. I remember covering his daddy. So that's another story. But they have a chance. They have a fighter's chance. And when you have a fighter's chance, all you're just looking for is just a good punch, you know?
Right. You know, I saw Ben Simmons take over that game last night. He took the ball to the basket. A lot of stuff is not obviously won't be there come playoff time, but I do see the motive. I will never say that Ben Simmons he doesn't have a poor work ethic. I think he has a good work ethic. I still think he has to evolve his game. And I guess I use Lamar, and on the football level, I use Lamar Jackson as an example, as a guy of great talent, great athleticism, but you got to evolve your game. Where is Ben Simmons in your mind? When you look at this team, how do you see Ben Simmons at this point?
Ben Simmons has an attitude that needs to be toned down to the betterment of his game. He thinks a lot of himself, but he's also rather belligerent in a lot of the things that he says and his actions. Well, to get to that point, you need to play to that point. He's not a Kobe. He's not a Magic. He's a
right.
And before you come in NBA with a dude, you better have something to back it up. So far, he can back it up in a regular season. He has yet to do it when there's money on the line. So, in that instance, he needs to ramp it down a little bit, concentrate on his game, and do the things that make him most effective. He has the opportunity to be an outstanding player, but attitude means a lot.
Yeah, and I think that if he has that approach, if he has the right approach to it, he can probably learn. But overall, though, is this the best you've seen them play defense? I just read off, the runs in that game.
Doc Rivers plays defense. He's always been a defensive. When he was in high school in Chicago, he was a
great defensive player. When he played at Marquette, he was a great defensive player. When he entered the show, he was a great defensive player. He knows how to play defense. He knows what it takes to get everyone involved. So I'm not surprised about that at all. And if you're going to play defense for him, you will see some time.
Right. I want everybody else to get in who's listening to get in on the conversation. 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. If you're calling outside the Delaware Valley, just to talk about what do you know, and I'll ask the question from all the fans, and I'll get back to what we're talking about. You know, what do you like about this Sixers team so far? I mean, the fact they're in first place, maybe first place in the Eastern Conference at this time of the year, maybe a bit of fool's gold and all that. But, you know, how do you see these guys competing? They got a big game against Los Angeles, which will be here. Should be here in Philly on Wednesday. Is that the game where you're going to say, I want to see more from this team, you know, because they still have a penchant for committing turnovers. They turn the ball over a lot. And there's some points of some games where they do get a little bit unfocused, but, you know, how big of a test will the Lakers be come this Wednesday?
It's a regular season game. It's not that big.
Okay.
They beat the Lakers during the regular season last year. That's not the Lakers are just trying to get into a mode where they're playing well. Davis isn't playing well. So it's not a test. And then, too, there are no fans there, okay?
Right.
So we're talking about a whole different dichotomy as far as what you're going to see. To me, it's like playing a practice game. They count, which is where they're at, right? LeBron is going to get his point. You know, is shutting down everyone else. Davis, I tell you what, when LeBron decides to step down, he's going to be the man in the NBA.
No doubt about it.
There's something about what he brings to the table. In fact, he brings the turkey, and all the fixings. That's how good man is.
Okay. We got Brother Mike from Ohio. Brother Mike, what's happening, man?
Hey, Chris, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing okay, man. Just trying to, you know, I'm kind of, if you're watching on Facebook, I'm in my what I call my PBS mode and whatnot, just with the turtleneck and all that. You know, I'm chilling and whatnot. But we're going with.
That's good. So, Chris,
a
couple things. The first thing is the fact that the Sixers, or any organization, but the Sixers are giving the Suns difficulty to be part of the process, to be reporting and just be involved in giving that sports news. It's something unacceptable. So right there from there, I'm not happy, and I don't have a lot of kind things to say about that. I'm not letting that be something that I just skirt over, and that frames my whole thinking.
You talking about Carson Wentz?
I shouldn't have to fight. The black community has supported the Sixers.
Sorry.
2 years ago, they supported the Sixers for many, many, many years. So the opportunity for black media to be in there should be something that is welcome. In terms of what I think the difference is the Sixers, they have a bunch of men on the coaching staff. They have Popeye Jones. They obviously have Doc Rivers. And so Embiid and Simmons are not looking at people or taking instruction from some weak people who are trying to cower them. And that's the difference in terms of what I see. I'm not totally impressed because the Celtics played without one of their main players last night.
Jason Tatum.
And I don't think the Sixers are coming out of it. The Sixers might be the third best team in my estimation. I think Milwaukee's first in the East. I think Milwaukee's first. I think Boston is second. Even though Boston lost to them twice. Jaylen Brown, his play, this is just the beginning of the season. What him and what they're going to do once they really get going, they got a big three like the Nets. Now, I should have mentioned this. I think the Nets are better than them as well. So I'm not overly impressed with the Sixers. Yeah, they're winning. We'll see how long Embiid can last in terms of focusing and using his bigness to stay down in the paint if he cares to do that. But I'm not overly impressed. The proof will be in the pudding when fans can come back and they elect to focus on athletics and not focus on superstardom or trying to fill the stands with rappers as opposed to focus on the sport. And that's just that. So, yeah. Thanks, Chris. Have a nice day.
No problem. Okay. Yeah, I got to go to break. We'll be right back. Listen to 96.1 FM, 900 MWRD, the Chris Murray Report. Will be right back.
Clark Roofing Company has over 30 years of quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. Clark Roofing is a second-generation master roofer, installing top-quality roofing systems for commercial and residential properties across the tri-state area. For fast, dependable service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
This wellness vignette is brought to you by Keystone First. WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Helana, your resident health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Today we're going to talk about the importance of lifelong learning. So what exactly does that mean? Ideally, we continue to expand our worldview by not only teaching what we know, but also by being a student of life. When we allow ourselves to learn new things, we create synapses in our brain that keep them fresh and active. Lifelong learning can look like this. Number 1, read a new book or article every week on a topic you wouldn't normally choose. Number 2, have a conversation with someone from a different background. Number 3, watch a lecture or video online about a current hobby to dive deeper. We sometimes think lifelong learning means we have to go back to school in order to learn something new. Well, this simply isn't true. By staying open to learning new things every day, we can support our overall state of wellness. Go ahead and try. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at WURDradio.com. This wellness vignette was brought to you by Keystone First. As a business owner, hiring and developing people from the community that your company serves is one of the best ways to show commitment to that community. Let WURD Radio help with Livelihood, our new initiative that connects Philadelphians with companies like yours. We'll feature your business, open employment opportunities, and resources to connect your company with talent and ensure that you reach your target demographic. To learn more about how Livelihood can help you build your team, visit wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Okay, we are back. We still have Darrell Bell on the phone with us from the Philadelphia Tribune. As moving forward, we were talking about the Sixers. I want to kind of, end things where I want to continue a conversation that we were having regarding minority coaches or people, coaches of color, black coaches, basically. And I wanted to, Darrell, just to kind of see where we are. I want to get more of your view of that because right now, guys like Eric Bieniemy, they never mention guys like Byron Leftwich, who's the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers and leading that offense into possibly a Super Bowl if they can get past Green Bay. But what should we scrap the Rooney Rule altogether? I mean, how do we get more black coaches, coaching in the NFL?
You can get more black coaches coaching in the NFL by white people hiring them. That's how you get them in there.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah. Because
that's the bottom line. You got to start from somewhere. Now,
right.
Again, like I said, every year I run a column and I select the top coaching candidates in the NFL. There are candidates. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is they're not getting hired. And as I told you earlier, you can't make anybody hire you. You can make them fire you, but you can't make them hire you. There's a big difference.
Right. So we still have the same old boys network. It's like these billionaire owners don't want. I look at the Houston Texans, and I look at Deshaun Watson's situation. Deshaun needs to get out of there. If he can, with all deliberate speed, he really needs to get out of that situation, because that's a screwed up situation. But then again, I don't know if a lot of people want to be in that situation in Houston, because the owners apparently in the front office don't know their heads from the hole in the ground. And it's just really, I just find it really interesting that even after all the racial upheaval that we've had in this country, that these owners are still intransient. They still don't seem to be comfortable with having an African American, as a head coach and whatnot. And I guess it's the same old race thing. You can't deny it this time. You can't say it's not because of race.
Chris, let's take it a step further. We have a black woman who is a heartbeat away from the presidency. Okay?
Right.
Now, do you think all of a sudden now is cool? Things are going to open up? Okay, I see things opening up a lot for black women, but I don't see it opening up for black men. That has been swept under the rug very well.
Right.
Again, it's a shame that we're talking this way. We're in 2021 and we're still talking about the same crap. 1960, 1970. All right?
Right.
Enough is enough.
Right.
If anything, Donald Trump did one thing, and that's he opened up eyes as to what people really felt. So
yeah, absolutely.
You can call him racist. You can call him. No, I thought he was an opportunist, but he opened up people's eyes, and you have to keep your eyes open. You have to do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Throughout everything else, it took. But then again, look how many years it took for a black quarterback to be accepted in that position, even by members of the media who always say, I heard, and I'm not going to say which NFL writer, during Jalen Hurts' press conference, someone expressed the doubt that he could read defenses and all that. And I'm saying to myself, not many rookies are really good at reading NFL defenses and all that off the bat. But at the same time, it's just like, is this idea that you come into that you can't do nothing. And that's the thing, is it always works from that idea that, because you're a black head coach, you can't do anything. And that still bothers, even you've seen Tony Dungy and Mike Tomlin lead teams to Super Bowls. It's like that you're not shocked, but you would think that mindset would have dropped by now, even with the success of, say, Tony Dungy and Mike Tomlin as coaches.
Some people don't think that black journalists can cover baseball. Okay,
right.
you still got some people who believe that the only thing that blacks are good at are sports they can run and throw. Instead of looking at things such as hockey, we've proven that. We've proven all the sports. So, again, it's an ongoing battle. Racism doesn't end. It doesn't end if it didn't end with Barack Obama. He thought that we had a black guy who was president. And they're still being questioned. Well, can they do this or can they do that? You know, it's a shame that we're in this situation. But since we're here, I want to tell you, like Ratty King said, can't we all just get along?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, can't we? And it's not so much getting along, but can we be treated fairly? I mean, can there be, why is it, I was sitting, like I said, I was reading Mike Florio's article on black coaches. I read the comment section, and there's so many white people that don't get it. Well, how come there's not enough black running backs? And I'm like, this is a league that has often denied black people head coaching positions, okay? What they're trying to do is to basically try to put the best guys forward in terms of the qualifications, okay? And that's the thing that, but then again, equality to a lot of white people is basically, I guess, akin to oppression. So, like I say, I don't know if we're ever going to solve this problem. However, we are at the end of our show, and so because we are at the end, I want to thank all my guests: Daryl Bell, Joe San Laquito, and John Mitchell. I want to thank all you guys for being, and of course my number one producer, Jordan Booth, and who does a great job on the Wheels of Steel. But I want to thank everybody here today for a good show today, and we will see you guys next week. I doubt if we solve the problem of racism in coaching, but we got to keep trying. So I'll see y'all next week. Have a great weekend.